and we'll get back to you guys. Stand by, because I want to bring in now Congressman Elijah Cummings and also Congressman Eric Swalwell, both of them Democrats. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. Congressman Cummings, start with you. Your reaction to tonight's event?
Well, I'm not surprised. It seems as if when Ms. Yates appeared yesterday, I said to myself, we're going to have a new issue tomorrow. And we have constantly seen, Don, this movement of hocus pocus when something gets seems to get close to the Russian investigation. The next thing you know, we moved on to another issue. But there's something that your guests don't seem to understand. One of the reasons why, keep in mind, Comey came to our committee, the Oversight Committee, back in the summer and made this announcement about how he thought Hillary Clinton was sloppy, but he wasn't going to prosecute. I told him at that hearing, I said, they are coming after you. That is, the Republicans don't like what you're doing, and they are going to put you on trial. The thing that your guests don't know is that after that decision was made not to prosecute, they basically, the Republicans on the Oversight Committee, subpoenaed almost every single document in the FBI file. And I think that what happened with Comey is that he came back later on, closer to the election, to make those announcements, because I think he was concerned that they would come after him. That's what I believe. But again, I think the timing of this is horrible. I mean, if we look at it, Don, the president treated Flynn far better than he treated the FBI director. Yeah. I mean, the FBI director didn't even know he was being fired. Yeah. And while Flynn had 18 days after the president even knew that he had lied to the vice president. We've got to get to the bottom of this. I think the fact that there is a grand jury and that questioning is now being opened up, I think you're going to see a whole new escalation of this case.
I want to ask you something, Congressman Swalwell, because I know both of you, Congressmen, have been privy to information, classified information, and you know what's happening with the investigation. There is reporting tonight, CNN and others, as the Washington Post said, reporting that the White House and the Attorney General had pushed the FBI to pursue leaks rather than pushing them to pursue what the investigation was about, and that was possible collusion from the Trump campaign with Russia. Did you know anything about that, Congressman Swalwell?
Don, I hope that's not the case. Our country was attacked by Russia. There's a serious FBI investigation going on into whether any U.S. persons were involved. And to make that a priority over protecting our democracy would be a serious misjudgment. As far as firing FBI Director Comey, to the average American, this stinks. The United States is a democracy. The president can't fire the person who's investigating him. That violates bedrock principles of independence. And so Elijah Cummings and I both also wrote legislation to have an independent commission. We think that's the most comprehensive way to get to the bottom of what happened and to make sure that we never find ourselves in a mess like this again.
Your colleague, who is a ranking Intelligence Committee member, Adam Schiff, put out a statement, and it says, the decision by the president, whose campaign associates are under investigation by the FBI for collusion with Russia, to fire the man overseeing that investigation upon the recommendation of Attorney General, the Attorney General, who has recused himself from that investigation, raises profound questions about whether the White House is brazenly interfering in a criminal matter. Congressman, do you see it that way? And what is the recourse, if so?
Jeff Sessions should be nowhere near the firing of Director Comey. He was supposed to be recused. And remember, Don, he was supposed to be recused because he was asked by the Senate if he had any contacts with Russia during the election. Twice, he said no. We learned later, because of press reporting, that he had. And so for him to be involved also raises questions. And on the Judiciary Committee, where I serve, I think we should have Jeff Sessions before us to explain just exactly why this was not, just exactly why he was involved in this while he was supposed to be recused.
Congressman Cummings, the Deputy Attorney. Go ahead, Congressman.
I'm just going to say I agree totally with Congressman Swalwell. I was shocked that we had a letter coming from the Attorney General with the recommendation. I assumed that any recommendation would be solely that of the Deputy Attorney General, who I know quite well, and I think the world of. He was our U.S. Attorney here in Maryland for over 10 years. Rosenstein. But I think Rosenstein now has a duty. I think we're going to have to do two things. One, I think we need to have that independent commission as Congressman Swalwell and I have put forth. But I think we also have to make sure that an independent counsel is appointed by Rosenstein, because some kind of way, I think you basically have to have both, one checking each other.
I want to ask you, Congressman, about a little bit more about the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Says he recommended this firing because of how Comey handled the Clinton investigation, pointing to Comey's press conference on Clinton and pointing to Comey's letter before the election. But I want you to listen to President Trump when all that happened, and then we'll discuss.
I respect the fact that Director Comey was able to come back after what he did. It took guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made in light of the kind of opposition he had, where they're trying to protect her from criminal prosecution. He's become more famous than me.
So, Congressman, the president didn't mind how it was handled then. So what changed?
I think whenever
what changed was that Director Comey.
Cummings.
Yeah. I think whenever things are going the president's way, it's fine with him. When they're not going his way, it's not fine with him. I mean, come on, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this. And I think that's why we have now moved from one issue to another, and we will see that over and over again. Basically, what we need in this whole process is integrity, transparency, and if anybody wants to see what transparency and integrity is all about, all they have to do is rewind the tape of Sally Yates and Clapper yesterday. Those are the type of public service servants who make sure that we preserve this democracy and preserve our system of justice.
Congressman Swalwell, some Republicans right now are saying, well, wait, hold on a second. Director Comey was disliked by Democrats, too. Nobody was happy with him. What's your response to that?
Well, whether people were happy with him or not, he came to Congress in March and told Congress and the American people that the president's campaign was under criminal and counterintelligence investigations. At that point, unless Director Comey committed a crime, he should have been untouchable. That's the only way we could have an independent prosecution, an independent search for the truth by the FBI that would be credible and make progress. And now the president has violated that principle of independence, and I'm very concerned for our country.
Do you think we'll see a special prosecutor?
Don, one of the things that we are missing here, too, is that it is not normal for one who's under investigation. I practiced law for over 20 years. One who's under investigation or their associates are under investigation to be doing things that stand in the way of that investigation, or saying things. Usually what I would tell my clients is we're going to cooperate with the authorities and move on and not be constantly making comments. And I think that that's the way this should proceed. The president should not be involved in all these tweets about how he doesn't think this is happening or that's wrong. Let the process play itself out.
Yeah. That was the opening to our show tonight, that this is not normal for the person investigating this administration, now fired by this administration and by this president. A quick question. Do you think we'll see a special prosecutor, Congressman Swalwell?
I hope we do. I hope we have an independent commission, a special prosecutor, and that person is able to find the truth and do it with independence so that anyone that worked with Russia is held accountable, because our democracy is counting on it.
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I want to say,
my pleasure.